October 2024, a month that will forever be etched into the hearts of the French people. What began as a storm warning has turned into one of the most catastrophic natural disasters in the country's history. France is underwater, submerged by torrential rain and unrelenting floods. Rivers have broken their banks, towns have disappeared beneath the rising waters, and lives have been devastated beyond recognition. This is no ordinary storm. This is a national tragedy. Over the course of just a few days, an unimaginable deluge of water has ravaged cities, villages, and entire regions across France. The worst-hit areas, Normandy, Brittany, Île-de-France, and the south of France, have seen record-breaking rainfall, more than 200 millimeters in less than 48 hours. Rivers like the Seine, Loire, and Rhône have swelled far beyond their limits, transforming peaceful waterways into deadly torrents that have swallowed roads, homes, and livelihoods. The scale of destruction is hard to comprehend. Entire communities have been evacuated as walls of water surged through streets, tearing apart everything in their path. Bridges have collapsed, transportation networks are crippled, and more than 100,000 people have been displaced from their homes. This is France, a nation known for its resilience and strength, but even now, the country is struggling under the weight of this disaster. Lives have been lost. As of today, authorities have confirmed that at least 25 people are dead, and many more are still missing. Families are mourning loved ones, searching for the missing, and clinging to hope as emergency services continue their daring rescue operations in the most affected areas. One town in particular, Rouen, has been almost entirely submerged. Once a bustling city full of life and history, today it stands as a watery grave, with streets that resemble rivers and buildings overtaken by the force of nature.
Ils sont pris au piège. Non, je crois 5 à 6 voitures sont pris au piège. On est là, là c'est la guerre. Là c'est la guerre, vraiment c'est la guerre. Tout Marseille c'est inondé. Tout Marseille c'est inondé. C'est inondé.
Le temps est magnifique. Tous les enfants profitent au maximum du grand air, dans la joie et la bonne humeur. Chaque colon commence à se forger une place au sein du groupe.
Bah qu'est-ce que tu fous là, toi?
Ramenez-moi!
Il règne au château une ambiance de franche camaraderie.
J'adore Flambel. Saviez-vous que c'était un amoureux de la Belgique?
Rescue workers, firefighters, and volunteers are risking their lives, wading through waist-deep waters, trying to save those trapped inside homes and vehicles. The French government has deployed over 10,000 emergency personnel, and helicopters continue to pull survivors from rooftops as families watch their lives float away in the floodwaters below. But it's not just the loss of life that grips the nation, it's the fear of what comes next. The rain is still falling. Meteorologists have issued dire warnings. More storms are coming. This disaster is far from over, and the already flooded regions face the terrifying possibility of even more destruction. In towns like Lyon and Toulouse, flash floods have turned roads into rivers in a matter of hours. Cars have been swept away, homes have crumbled, and people are clinging to any available lifeline as they watch their world disappear under the rising waters. The images coming from these regions are harrowing: rooftops barely visible above the waterline, families stranded with no way out, and the haunting sound of rushing water that refuses to stop. As the rain continues to fall, the entire nation of France is on edge. Citizens are glued to their screens, watching in horror as the floodwaters creep closer to their own homes. Emergency warnings flash across every network, urging people to evacuate immediately, to seek higher ground, and to leave behind everything they've worked so hard to build. This is not just a test of France's infrastructure, it's a test of its spirit. President Emmanuel Macron, addressing the nation, has declared a state of emergency. "This is an unprecedented catastrophe," he said, his voice full of emotion. "But we are a strong people. We will stand together. We will overcome this tragedy." France is no stranger to natural disasters, but the floods of October 2024 are being described as the worst in living memory. The combination of relentless rainfall, oversaturated ground, and storm surges has created a perfect storm, a catastrophe that has brought the nation to its knees. The economic impact is staggering. Early estimates suggest that the damage could run into the billions of euros. Crops have been destroyed, farms wiped out, and entire industries have been brought to a standstill. The country's famous vineyards, the lifeblood of regions like Bordeaux and Burgundy, have been devastated by the floods, with farmers watching in helpless despair as the waters drown their grapes. The cultural heritage of France is also at risk. Historic buildings and landmarks have been damaged, and some may never be the same again. But in the face of such overwhelming tragedy, there are stories of heroism and hope. In the small village of Saint-Michel, a group of fishermen risked their lives to rescue elderly residents trapped in a nursing home. They navigated through treacherous floodwaters in their fishing boats, bringing people to safety one by one. In another heartwarming moment, a volunteer rescue dog, trained in water rescue, saved a child from drowning in the swollen river in Avignon. These moments of bravery remind us that even in the darkest times, the human spirit shines bright. The French people are united in their grief, but they are also united in their resolve to rebuild, to recover, and to support one another through this crisis. Volunteers from all corners of the country are pouring into the affected areas, offering help, food, and shelter to those who have lost everything. Donations are flooding in from around the world, and humanitarian organizations are working around the clock to provide relief to the thousands of displaced families. But the road ahead is long. As the floodwaters slowly begin to recede in some areas, the true scale of the damage is becoming clear. Entire neighborhoods have been wiped out, schools and hospitals destroyed, and critical infrastructure left in ruins. The French government has pledged immediate aid and long-term support, but the process of rebuilding will take months, if not years. And yet, France will rise again. It always has. It always will. To the people of France, the world stands with you. Your strength in the face of this disaster is an inspiration to us all. Though the waters have taken much, they have not taken your spirit. Together you will rebuild. Together you will overcome. And together, we will remember the floods of October 2024 as a moment when a nation stood strong, united, and unbroken. Subscribe for continued updates on the recovery efforts and how you can help those affected by the floods in France. Stay safe and stay informed.